Hello everybody, we are back again, another live stream on Thursday, 8 o'clock, Dutch Amsterdam time, Central European time. It is same time as in Paris, as in Amsterdam. And as you can see, we have a little bit different screen. Okay, let's see, duplicate. And what I can do here is that one. Okay, so we have Predator 3 and we have here, I made that bound bigger, Virus B. And today it's about MIDI latching, controlling MIDI to, if you have a synthesizer or a keyboard with dials, controlling that one to, for instance, Predator 3. So this is the big picture. It is from my webcam. It's not that clear, but I will point out which parameter it is, and then we go to this smaller screen where you then see. So I use the Virus as an example, but it can be a Novation synthesizer, a Nord lead, or simply your keyboard if you had a range of dials. So let me check the chat room. Hey, that's cool. Rick is also in the chat room. He had this question about Predator 3 and MIDI latching. So let's hope we make that a little bit clear today. How you can do that? Of course, I use as music host Cubase, but it might not be that different in your own music host if you use Reaper, Ableton, Bitwig, Fender Studio Pro, whatever. So this is Predator. I made it a little bit smaller. I have, if you maybe know, if you go to the upper right corner of Predator 3, you can select here the different sizes, and currently I picked 133. I have a big wide screen, so most of the time I use the 150% version, but today that will be not very handy because we have this Virus B in picture. So, okay, I see somebody else popping up with a question. Yeah, maybe later on this involving pet sounds. We have, of course, different synthesizers in which you can do Blue 3, Predator 3, even a Blade. So I think that will be a nice subject for later on. But let me start with MIDI latching. What is MIDI latching? MIDI latching means that you have, for instance, a contemporary synthesizer which sends out its controls as MIDI controller. So you see my hand moving around. Here we have an older Virus B. This is, for instance, the waveform selector for oscillator 1. You have the waveform selector for oscillator 2, filter 1, filter 2, the filter envelope, and the amp envelope. And on some synthesizers, I already have some of these as a preset. But let me show you first in, for instance, Predator 3, how things work. So I go here, and here you see Predator 3 solo. Up here you have ECS, and the light is always on. It stands for External Controller Setup. When I click it, I can load a setup. Now currently, as you can see, I already have a Virus B setup, which is installed, if I'm not wrong, inside the installer. But you can make your own setup. But now we start from scratch. And what is important is, of course, depending on your setup, if you have a keyboard with dials and you want to latch, you don't have to do anything on the MIDI input. But if you have a keyboard and separate also a Virus B, then you need to check in your music host that the MIDI inputs is all MIDI inputs. So if we go here to Cubase, you have down here this setting, all MIDI inputs, so that it picks up the MIDI from the keyboard when I'm playing, but also the MIDI input. So in this case, I connected the MIDI out from the Virus B to the MIDI input of the RME audio card, which makes that what when I turn the dial, that it pops up as a MIDI controller. So let me show you this. Here I can I have Predator as a so let me pick another screen. So I go back again. Here we have again very bigger the virus B, and okay, I need to show it, move it a little bit. So if you look here on the right hand side, if I press now record, and I can turn the dials, you see, and you see on the right hand side there's a little box appearing, and these are the MIDI controllers. So it does record the MIDI controllers. If I would go now to the list, the MIDI list, open MIDI list, open list editor, you see these are all the controllers. So controller 40 and 32 are used. So there are many MIDI controllers which are free for all kind of different usage. And you can link them to our software. So our software is very friendly on that subject. So let's go again, open Predator 3. So that's the basic stuff you need to keep in mind. So if you have a keyboard with the dials already on side of on the keyboard itself, you don't have to do anything with your MIDI input channel. If you have a separate synthesizer, which in my case I need to select in the MIDI input all MIDI, because then the output from the access virus, also the MIDI out, needs to be recorded together with the playing of the synth, which is the keyboard. So hopefully I'm a bit clear. So now what happens? So with here, with the as, load as, save as, clear MIDI. Clear MIDI, I will do this now. This clears all the MIDI latching. So if you have a synthesizer, what is nice as a setup is, especially what I would say, which is nice to work is, for instance, the waveform. While we have here on the virus B a wave selector, I can turn this dial, and here I can, if it's correctly, I should be able, although would be an, I don't think this will be possible with this one, because I can use morphing, but I don't think that I can MIDI latch that one. That's a good one. So the waveform cannot be selected. It's a limitation of Predator because the waveforms, you see it here in oscillator 3, have a morphing stuff. So I could change here something with the morphing. That would be possible, but we do that on a later point. So it depends on the type of synthesizer you are MIDI latching. So I could have the oscillator waveform attached to, for instance, bit, but with Predator it's not possible because Predator has this waveform morphing. So I don't have I have a list here, but I cannot MIDI latch that list. But what we can do is, for instance, we can control the volumes of the oscillators. So for instance, oscillator 3, this one, I could make that one here, and then I use the right mouse button, so latch to MIDI, and I turn the dial, and then the moment it's MIDI latch. Do you see it changing? So again, clear MIDI, all MIDI, the right mouse button in your Apple, it's control mouse, then this menu opens, latch to MIDI, and then turn this dial. There's one thing which is important, is that you turn the dial fully open and closed to make it catch up, because on the back panel, here I have Predator 3, we have a feature called external MIDI controller capture. Because what happens the moment when you have MIDI latched and you go to a preset and you are on stage and turn the dial, it would jump. We have this feature that once you did MIDI latch it, the parameter changes only when it reaches the value. So once it reaches the value, it starts moving around. This makes that if you use it in a live situation, that you don't have a jump of your parameter because you dial one of the dials. So that will be the volume. Now let's have then the other ones which are interesting. The cutoff frequency. So here we have in the virus B the cutoff frequency of filter 1. Right mouse menu, latch to MIDI. I latch that one to MIDI. What is interesting, what I would suggest, is also the resonance, latch to MIDI. And you see, I need to turn it fully because otherwise it doesn't catch. And that has to do with the external MIDI capture mode. You can put it off, then it's MIDI latching a little bit faster because then it doesn't look where the parameter is before connecting. And then what I would suggest is the envelope amount, which is also this third one. So we have now the cutoff frequency, resonance, and now I add the envelope amount. That's filter 1. Then of course we have the filter envelope, which is down here. We have here a filter envelope for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 knobs, dials for the envelope. So I can do it here. Latch to MIDI for the attack. Latch to MIDI for the decay. Latch to MIDI for sustain, latch to MIDI, and that's possible because fade is also on the virus B, and here the last one, latch to MIDI for the release. So I also have then the filter envelope, same as with the virus B. The other thing which I would advise is, because we have down here the amplifier, so down here in Predator 3 we also have the amplifier, to MIDI latch the envelope. Set to latch to MIDI, latch to MIDI, latch to MIDI, latch to MIDI, and the last one, latch to MIDI. So now, that's my advice. If you have similar synthesizer like a Virus B, a Nord lead, or any other of contemporary synthesizers, if it's possible, pick the waveform selector. That's not possible with Predator 3, but would be possible with, for instance, Bit 2. Pick, if possible, the volumes of the oscillator. We pick this one here. I can also add this one here, latch to MIDI. Let me see, where is this baby? And keep in mind that this MIDI latching is global. So if you have another track, a different track, that one also has this MIDI latching. So, so let's go back. So what did I do? I added the volumes. Here is Predator 3. From the oscillators, oscillator 1, you see it moving around. Oscillator 2 volume. And oscillator 3. So, and then we have now I change the sound, of course, and you see the edit goes on. So my advice is to take some oscillator values, if they are possible, oscillator parameters. Then it's important to have the filter, resonance, and the filter envelope, and the amp envelope. So looking at the virus B, so with the virus B, I took these 3 dials for the volume, for controlling the volumes of oscillator 1, 2, and 3. I used this cutoff frequency for filter 1, the resonance for filter 1, the envelope amount for filter 1, and the attack, decay, sustain, fade, or release for filter 1. And I added the amplifier, attack, decay, sustain, and release. And with this, you have a lot of cool options, because yeah, now you see my Virus B, but I always have it in front of me because I like to have, also when in sound creation, it's cool to have dials. Let me show you. So if I go back now to the other picture, now you see the Virus B, and if I go here, let's see, it's descent. So what I can do now is envelope amount is this one, and that's cool because the envelope amount is the same level. Maybe a bit too loud, so let's make a bit. And then you have, oh, this one has an inverted envelope. Oh, that's not good. So you can make very fast new sounds. So if I go to the manager, let's take another preset. Or this one. Envelope amount. And of course now you see it jumps. So now I need to go back and put in the external control capture mode. This means, so let's go back again. So this is the preset, and if I change now the cutoff frequency, it only starts changing when I hit the parameters. You see up here, nothing happens until I go down and have the parameter, and then it starts changing. Same for the envelope amount. Same for decay. Now it doesn't respond, I don't know why. Okay. You really need to hit the parameter value. So when I go now the lower envelope, so this one here, which is here, this one here in the Predator, and you see that's with this one in the Virus B. So when I change now, you see the attack is a little bit open. So if I change now the attack, it doesn't change until I go fully closed, then it catches up. So the capture mode, which is on the back panel, which you can switch on off, is very important for getting a very smooth operation of your dial. I'm not sure, maybe it's only also in the control list. Let me see, well, could be. Yeah, MIDI external capture mode is also in the control menu. So this little three things makes that you have the, so that's the MIDI external capture mode on, which makes that once I hit the value, even if it's MIDI latch, that it starts changing. So let me see the chat room. Hopefully everybody can follow me a little bit about MIDI latching. Well, once you have your own setup, you go to the upper external controller setup and you save your setup. Of course, you need to back up. If you have a new computer, always back up this data. It's in the My Documents, Predator 3, and then you have, I think the folder is also named external ECS, and then it's a folder. So save as, yeah, here it is, Predator 3 ECS, that's a folder in the Documents, Rob Papen, Predator 3 ES. And on the Mac computer, it will be Applications, Rob Papen, Predator 3S. So you can save your own setup, make a backup from it, so in case you have a new computer, that you don't have to do it again. Now, the capture mode is per parameter. So it's for each parameter. So if I go back again, let's see an example. I click on original here, up here, then I have the original sound again. You see the cutoff frequency of the virus is not on the same position as here. So when I open it, oh, now it picks, yeah, I finished, of course, on the same. So let's say this parameter is on this position. So I go back again to the original sound, and you see the cutoff frequency dial is on this position. So when I move it up, it only catches when I grabbed the parameter. So that avoids the jumps. And it's good in a live situation, but also good as a whole. The other thing which I would advise, if it's possible, we can, with Cubase, you can add an extra track. So what you could do, so I could do that here. Let me see if I can get that done, guys. So let me hear, I need to have a little bit of drums. Is there drums here possible? Okay, let's see. So if I record this. Okay, let's quantize because I don't know how my timing is. Let's see what we did. Yeah, here you see it. If I, oops, cancel. Okay, let's make a little, I need to have it cut on a real bar. So what I do is, essentially, I should have been on this spot. So I'll make it a little bit longer. Can you see my thing, what I'm doing? So I have played this sound here. Now I created here a extra track, which is called MIDI 1, but it's connected to this Predator 3. So that's, so MIDI, so I would call it extra Predator 3, and then it only does the controller. So I would record the controller separate, which makes that you are a bit less affected by if it's all on one track happening. So this is the note, and I have an extra track, and then I would simply press record and record it. See, I recorded now on a separate, that one should be a bit longer. So I recorded the controller on a different track. That's my advice to do this, because then you always have the option to change here your controller lane. Some music hosts have that very separated, but by Cubase I always find the best way to have it. You see my changes. So cool, and that's simply an advice if you use Cubase. You go to Predator and then you say add track MIDI, and then it automatically picks, in this case, then also Predator 3 as your target. So Predator 3. Predator 3 is here the plug-in. And the second track is Predator MIDI. And there I can record the controller data. The cool thing about having controllers, so you could have using a contemporary synthesizer. Maybe you have a, well, I have a Take 5 here from Sequential that sends out also MIDI controls. But I can imagine that, for instance, a Nord lead or a Novation, or even a modern analog machine like the most recent Moogs will send out MIDI controller data. And the cool thing is that you have 4 hardware field to your synthesizer. And it's of course cool to record that. So you need to open here the event list for having this. Maybe there's another list available in Cubase. Mostly I record live, and if it's not okay, I record it again. So, oops. Yeah, what is then appearing, how the list is, if you go to the menu again, then you can see if LATCH to MIDI controller 40. Up here it says LATCH to MIDI controller 40. So then you see in the attack LATCH to MIDI controller 45. So essentially the attack on filter 1 of the Virus B is controller 54. So we just forget one because we still have one dial free here, which is the filter 2. So we can also MIDI LATCH to MIDI. Okay, why isn't it not working? Come on, baby. Not sure why not. Oh, no, it picks. I need to pick here filter 2, sorry. So filter 2 is not doing anything here. I can take here notch filter, is nice. Yeah, good point, Mr. Blah, 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 blah. Good point that you say, don't forget that that MIDI control output, yeah. And that's also in some music host, you can filter sys-X and particular controller data. So if it doesn't work, you sometimes need to look it out. And indeed, some hardware synthesizers, maybe you have to put it on to have the external MIDI controller. So let me see the chat room. I hope you enjoyed it. I have, of course, on the playlist in our YouTube channel an older video where I show also MIDI latching. So let me see if everything is clear, if there's any question. So I look up here because there is the chat room. MIDI controller promise works. Okay, what if you have a question, just let me know. So in a recap, if you have a MIDI keyboard which has dials, and they, if you would see my other videos, you would see my complete control, which has 2, 4, 6, 8 dials, which you also can use for MIDI control data. So you have MIDI keyboards with dials already. Even I have an EMU one, a very old EMU one, which also had a layout. Should I grab it? I could see. Let me see if it's close to me. Yeah, give me 1 second. Yeah, as you can see, I can walk around because I have a mobile microphone. The sound is not fantastic, but as long as you guys can understand me, it's good. Because the other microphone had too much of my keyboard playing and the mouse. So this is a very nice keyboard, by the way. It's very pity that EMU is not there anymore. So, okay, let me turn it. Okay, what I can do is make it my screen a little bit better. So now, as you can see, guys, I'm growing, I keep on growing. So, big, Rob is big, and this one. So here's the EMU keyboard. Oh, that's the keyboard. And then you see, I used that many times on stage or on trade shows. And you see, I made a kind of setup, cutoff frequency, envelope, waveform selection, and then the filter envelope and the filter attack. Very nice. It even has aftertouch, this keyboard. Really, it's a very nice keyboard. I have the 5 octaves. And I even use it on stage. The keyboard is maybe a little bit noisy, but it has a very good response. So the response for playing is perfect. So, okay, let me shrink again. So you see, I'm shrinking. So the cool thing is with this feature that you have a control to, it's for sound design. I use it mostly, but if you're making music, you can also, yeah, turn the filter up, down instead of drawing it with your mouse. It gives you far more a feeling connection to the synthesizer. So I could take another one. So if you have then a setup, let's see. So we have then Predator, let's see. Even with wire plug you could do it. Yeah, bit 2. Let's show bit 2 and then connecting the oscillators. It's a little bit too big. Well, one trick is to make it a bit smaller. Okay. So I need you to reload a bit. Now it's a bit smaller and then you can see. Also here we have the external controller setup, clear MIDI, and now I could pick then also here from the oscillator, latch to MIDI, it works the same. So also here you see capture mode is active, so I need to turn the whole dial, catch, latch to MIDI, so the same system as what you saw with Predator. Then we have here filter 1, latch to MIDI. Here it picks up, resonance. Okay, I go to the back panel and do external controller setup. You see down here it is. And then, so I capture mode, I put it off. So resonance here, latch to MIDI. So it's pretty fast. Envelope amount, I always advise. So again, if possible, the oscillator waveform, oscillator 1, oscillator 2. I also could MIDI latch the semitone, latch to MIDI, hop, hop, hop. Or fine tune, that's also possible. Detune. which is here, latch to MIDI. So I make it more extensive now. Yeah, latch to MIDI. Symmetry I also could do. Oh, stupid me! I'm in the wrong oscillator. Huh. Wow. What I can do if I have something wrong, I can clear MIDI, unlatch MIDI. So per dial, you always can have the option to unlatch. So you don't need to use clear all MIDI. So unlatch MIDI, and then it's gone. So because I'm turning now oscillator 2, which I did not notice. Pulse width you can change here. So symmetry I could change. Latch to MIDI. So I could change the symmetry here. Moves a little bit strange, but it's possible. Volume, of course, which is the oscillator 1 volume. Latch to MIDI, oscillator 1 volume. Then I go to oscillator 2, waveform, yes. And here I can catch this semitone. Latch to MIDI, fine. Latch to MIDI. Then we have FM amount, which could be this one. Latch to MIDI. Ha, cool. And the sub-oscillator, we have the volume. So this is oscillator 1. Oscillator 2 volume can use here from the this is the volume. Latch to MIDI, yes. And then we have, what is this one? This is another one. This could be the noise volume. Latch to MIDI. And the sub-oscillator, I can MIDI latch. Oops, this is this one. Sub-oscillator, where are you? I saw it. Oh, this was the sub-oscillator. Oops. Sub-oscillator. Okay, so I need to correct my unlatch MIDI, and this one, unlatch MIDI. So you need to watch out what you're turning. So this is the sub-oscillator, so I can have the sub-oscillator volume latch to MIDI. So that would be then the same as the virus B. Latch to MIDI. Okay, here we go. Now, next would be, I would use that one, the third one, and for the oscillator 2 volume, latch to MIDI. Then, of course, we go to the filter section. We had that one already. Envelope amount, attack we need to add. Latch to MIDI. Decay. Sustain. I'm not sure if I had one made already for the bit 2. I might have it not inside the installer. And then, of course, the envelope. The volume envelope is very important parameters to have control over. Sustain. It doesn't have fade on bit. So then you see I have already quite some parameters. Now filter 2, latch to MIDI, this cutoff frequency. But I need to switch it here. So for filter 1 and filter 2, I need to change the selector here. Yeah, the whole sound is gone, but you see. Yeah, once you have a nice setup, you can say save external control. Oh, I have an access virus setup. So let me see what we did. So let me load it. Load access virus setup. it can do some cool stuff. So I put on the arpeggiator. Let's take no reverb or delay. Change the waveform. Sub-oscillator. Yeah, you see, you can do a lot of cool stuff. So it really gives you a hardware feel if you have a hardware synthesizer in your collection. And another thing would be, of course, still using your MIDI controller as I showed with the EMU. That's another option you would have. And once you have your setup, save it. And yeah, you see, if I go here to load as, you see here we have documents, Rob Papen bit 2 ECS external controller setup. And then you can back up for another system. I really advise you to do this because it's fun. You can record it in your track, it gives you more feeling, and, and you always can edit it. And the most important parameters I suggest would be, if possible, to use the waveforms so that you change waveforms dynamically. For instance, and sometimes it gives a little bit of artifacts, but you could, for sound creation, you could change it. Then use the filter cutter frequency, the filter resonance, the envelope amount, and the filter envelope, and the amp envelope. These are the main parameters I can advise you. Because then you have a lot of sound options and go from one sound to another. So cool, isn't it? Yes, guys, so that's the whole idea for MIDI latching. So in the right mouse menu, latch to MIDI for each control. You can clear everything if you lost track or you want to do it again. Most of the parameters are MIDI latchable, but I just mentioned the ones which I think makes most sense. And then you can save them. Keep in mind, if you go to the back panel, that we have this external MIDI capture mode. So once you start capturing, you need to turn the dial fully open and closed so that it catches up. This makes that if you have this capture mode, makes that if you have a song and you start changing a parameter, that it picks up the position from the parameter and then changes. So it doesn't give this jumps. If in case you would use this on stage live, why not? You showed a pop-up menu that had MIDI capture. Can you show that again? Yeah, right mouse menu. And you see here, so latch to MIDI CC22. So that's in the right mouse menu where you latch the MIDI. And you have also other features, increase, decrease, set the value. Some very nice tricks inside of it. But this is also what you use for MIDI latching. is the same in all of our plugins except for Albino 3 Legend. That was a previous coded by somebody else. It's a little bit different. But all the other synthesizers we have, even the FX, you can MIDI latch. That's not a problem. But you need to connect, of course, MIDI to the FX. Good, guys. So yeah, the other thing is what I mentioned. If you have then MIDI latched and you record it, the other tip was, of course, if you have a separate synthesizer, be sure that the MIDI comes in the Predator 3. So if you have a keyboard and the hardware synthesizer with the MIDI out, that you select all MIDI inputs so that the Predator 3 not only sees the keyboard you're playing, but also the output from a hardware synthesizer. And as somebody mentioned inside the chat room, you need to see that the hardware also throws out MIDI controller. The sonic quality of Albino 3 Legend is its own sound. I think the more recent releases have, I think, more punch and more bright sound, a brighter, more high frequency, more open sound compared to Predator 3 Legend. But still, Predator 3 Legend has its own sound because of that. It's a little bit, if you compare a JX8P with a Jupiter 8, they have a different sound. So, of course, I could explain why it is, why it's less dynamic and why it has less higher brilliance in this sound, more open sound, but that's a whole technical story. So for particular sounds, and that's why we could bring it back, of course, thanks to Peter from Limplug, we could purchase the code, and and then you can hear a difference. It has its own sound, which people love, but it's different. It's not as open, not as dynamic as some of our other instruments, the dynamic range, and its punchiness of the envelopes. But that everything has a reason, but still, it's a great synth with great sounds, its own character. Okay, guys, so now we are on the stage where we will play another song by Tom Aldrich. But first I want to notice or mention to you guys that, that I'm on Spotify. I am uploading all my songs now. The latest album is uploading, and they now and then start up to, because it takes time, about 1 week before they pop up in Sound is Spotify, they call it, YouTube Music, and all these Deezer, whatever you have, all the music where people listen. Because people ask me, Rob, is your music on Spotify? And some older music was on Spotify, but I uploading now also the current ones. And Berlin is waiting. Many of the ones in the chat room know that essentially this whole song with Berlin style of electronic music started in the live stream, and it went up as a very nice song on my album. Berlin is Waiting is also now on Spotify. Then you see which one is also now Waiting. It's a very nice track. You could try that one. And so the new one is Berlin is Waiting. You can try it out. I have the link in the description box where you can go to my Spotify music page if you like to listen what kind of noises I create. Okay, so there's another question still popping up. Let me see where we can see. My last remark was a question, Rob. Let me see where your last remark is. So if you do latch to MIDI, it links the dial that you turn after that command. Yes, essentially. So let's go back to Predator 3. I still have, I think, something free for it. So I have, for instance, this FM amount. So this dial you can see, you go here. If you think, okay, let's do this on the spread, you go over the dial you like to MIDI latch. Use the right mouse menu, you click latch to MIDI, turn the dial, and then it MIDI latches. But open it fully and close because we have this capture mode. And then it's MIDI latch. And if you go back again, you can also see latch to MIDI controller 27. Yeah, MIDI Lab 3 would be perfectly working, definitely. So Rick Roberts mentioned in the chat room, Rick, you could then save your setup here and save as easy controller setup. And then, yeah, you have far more control. So it makes really having, especially what I mentioned, which is important, is of course the filter envelope parts to latch that to MIDI. Okay, enough talking, let's enjoy Tom Aldrich. He used Punch 2 and also Quad. Let's enjoy it. It's called
I Need Your Attention.
Yeah, this was superb. So if you go to the homepage in the link description below, we have a dedicated Tom Aldrich TA Funk page on the Rob Papen page with many more sublime music by Tom. Tom, thanks for sharing. Cheers.